And that's the goal. How are you all moving towards on that goal now as it relates to the 350 million? I mean,
Sure.
surely it takes some time to make that
That's
happen,
right.
but even putting those dollars, the dollars raised, the 27.5 million, in addition to putting them into capital or physical structures, you've got to move that money out into the marketplace.
Sure. And we've been very fortunate there as well. We're well ahead of our plan. We're about 82 million in assets under our first 8 months.
Right.
We've been able to attract a lot of customers due to two things: a couple changes and some other things that are going on in the community.
Right.
But the other part of our plan is we really wanted to hire what we felt were the best and brightest people for the particular position that we wanted them to fill in our company. And we feel like our talent level, some of our bankers, our customer service reps, our back room, our teller line, all of the employees that are working within our organization, to us, were our number one choice of what we wanted. And so, we feel that creates kind of a snowball. You hire excellent talent, you start to build your branches and have great locations. You have to be convenient for your customers.
Sure.
That will attract customers.
Yes.
That will build your customer base, because all banks have very similar products. Our philosophy is, and as you've seen in our ads and some of the things that we've run in the Herald and in other places, it's the people that make the difference, or people you know and trust.
Oh, yes.
And
we love very creative marketing there, not only in our paper, many papers in the area. Print's a great vehicle to really reach into the community, as is obviously broadcast television or radio, but surely you all have hit the nail between the head there. I mean, really made it happen.
So we're a firm believer. We can't be successful unless we have employees that are very motivated, and we do the right things to make them successful.
Right.
Wayne Wicker or Scott Plyler or Dick Birch can't carry the bank. It's really the people, and they're doing a phenomenal job. And really, our excellent results are a prime example of we have the right people. We have the right people in place, and they're doing a phenomenal job.
Well, we were thrilled to see one of our columnists, Mary Jo Rogers, had joined pretty early on, and seeing some of the litany of other folks pictured in some of the ads. A lot of folks joining in the last, literally, as you say, since y'all opened 8 months ago, folks have been joining on a pretty consistent basis there, and y'all have taken pulled no punches, and obviously highlighting that to the community, and done a great job of that.
We're very fortunate to have Mary Jo. She's very active and does a great job, as well as Doug Arsenault or Paul Peoples or Ann Cody or Fran Kopnicki, all the people that we've been able to bring on board. But our strategy is, if you have the right banker, have the right team, we can build the resources around them.
Oh, yeah.
If you go and build a branch in one particular place, it's a lot harder to do well, to build the branch and then find the people to staff it and bring the customers. We want to build our franchise around our people.
Excellent.
And so, we're very committed to hiring the right people, and we're very committed to give them the resources and that they need to be successful.
Right. You as you mentioned earlier this morning, Scott, got in on creating the bank before some potential issues were erupting in the marketplace, people hearing a lot of things. You mentioned a great thing about the FDIC earlier this morning. Share with viewers about, is banking something, I mean, banks obviously work, but it's all about trust to a great degree. It really is all about trust. Should the marketplace be trusted? I mean, should they be wrapping around banks at this point right now, and are there any concerns that folks should have?
Sure. Well, my personal opinion is that our banking system in the United States is one of the best in the world. It's very safe and sound. It's a very regulated business. We're under very strict criteria, from a capital standpoint to how we open accounts, how we give disclosures to consumers. It is probably one of the most regulated lines of business of anything that I know.
Right.
Some of the noise in the market are particular banks or subsidiaries of other holding companies that were really heavily in the mortgage and particularly in the subprime mortgage lending area, which has very much been affected with real estate home sales, the slump in overall market values, and a lot of other things that have caused a few banks to fail and a few things to happen, which has brought more awareness to the FDIC overall insurance requirement of $100,000 per borrower.
Right.
And so that's where a lot of that has come up in the market.
Right.
I think our overall community banks and larger regional banks and national banks that are in our market and in the state of South Carolina, for that fact, are very safe and sound.
Great.
And one thing that I discussed earlier, in the 75-year history of the FDIC since the Great Depression, there's not been any customer that has lost any money from their $100,000 deposit.
Wow.
And there actually has not been anyone that's lost any money in excess of that, because normally what will happen is, if to use IndyMac or some of these other banks as an example, if there is exposure there that the FDIC is not going to cover, all the banks in different communities are competing heavily for deposits, and we all want deposits. So a lot of cases, the excess will go out to see if another bank wants to service that or have that customer, and in most cases they do. And they take those deposits in. And
that's a great point. Probably something that a lot of folks hadn't thought about.
That's right.
Surely that is how banks operate.
So you hear all the negative pieces, and you see the long lines, and you see a lot of the other things that are going on, and it is a very serious issue.
Right.
But you don't hear the other sides as much. The negative piece is what sells, and so you don't hear any of the other positive things, or really some of the historical data of what's happened in the past. So
viewers should not have concerns about community banks or even regional banks here in the Grand Strand or in the PD.
That's correct.
In our viewing area.
That's correct.
That's great. That's great. Well, of course, that point about the FDIC, and of course, obviously, that idea about folks, other banks in the community would love to get a hold of some of those deposits.
Sure.
But that is something that viewers can do. If they've got more than $100,000 at one bank, they can easily move those excess funds over to another bank, or they can set it up with a spouse and set up each of them at $100,000 possibly.
There's some other safety nets they can do. There's some other ways they can insure above $100,000 in a particular bank. It won't be through the FDIC, but there's some other insurance and things that banks can offer customers. So there's a lot of other things that are out there that you can do to help insure a larger portion of your deposit, or split certain things to get as much coverage as you possibly can.
What is the long-term plan for South Atlantic Bank? Obviously, you highlighted the 3-year plan, and surely making sure you all have the 3 locations. I mean, ultimately, when someone forms a community bank, you highlighted the loss of Anchor Bank in the area when they were purchased by another bank, Coastal Federal Bank. Obviously, after 50-plus years, that's a big deal for Myrtle Beach. And you all being only the second bank based here in Myrtle Beach, second community bank actually based in Myrtle, a lot in communities up and down the Strand. But long term, as you think forward, I'm sure you all have planned things out.
Sure.
What should viewers be seeing of South Atlantic Bank?
We're very focused on that, and our long-term goal is we want to create presence and have a top market share position in the Grand Strand. And when I say the Grand Strand, that's really Georgetown to Little River.
Right.
Maybe as far inland as Conway, but that's really where we'll focus.
Right.
And can we cover that? It could be 8 branches, it could be 10 branches, 12. I don't know the exact number.
Right.
But what we want to accomplish is we want to be number 1 in market share in the Horry-Georgetown County area.
Wow.
And we feel like if we do that, we can create a $1 billion bank or so, a nice size of larger community bank.
Oh, yeah.
And if we want to go to other areas such as Brunswick County or Charleston, or there's so many other viable markets that we're very interested in, that will allow us to do that. But I think you'll see us focus heavily on Georgetown and Little River before we'll try to venture somewhere else.
Right. Horry and Georgetown are very valuable communities. I mean, there's a lot, and surely a need there. You highlight the biggest share is being held by folks that are not based in Horry and Georgetown County.
That's correct.
The biggest share of the market.
That's correct.
Same thing up in the PD area. Even with some strong banks. Nick Sherpas, he was with us on Wednesday with First Reliance Bank, which has built a tremendous presence in the PD, and obviously done a lot of great things up there, and have even expanded down this way. Of course, we were focused on much of the community service that he's been doing personally, but still we're able to talk a little about that bank, and it's fascinating as you think about how you can grow very quickly in a community and move from 10th or 15th up to 3rd or 4th in a very rapid pace. So
And this market's historically been a little different than Greenville, Charleston, or Columbia, where you do have the larger national banks.
Right.
Have pretty much always been 1-2 in market share. Until recently, the 1, 2, 3 market share position were
right.
Coastal Federal, Anchor Bank, Conway National.
Oh yeah.
Which is a good thing for our community. So that
right.
shows that there is there is a lot of acceptance to, if you can get to that size of a larger community bank, that it has been accepted well in these 2 counties, and that's the niche that we're trying to achieve, and we're very focused on.
Obviously, you and Dick and Wayne, all the organizers, very active in a lot of great community service plans. You'll do a lot. The bank, it being so new, not yet at a point where it's begun to really make its face in charitable organizations, but that will be a big push, I suspect, for South Atlantic Bank going forward.
It sure will. We're all very heavily involved in particular things in the community on a personal level, and obviously as a startup company, we can't make some of the donations or the larger donations that we would like to do, but we will in the future, and we are making smaller contributions to a lot of different things that we know are great supporters and great things to do in our community, and we will continue to be very focused there.
That's tremendous. Scott, I'm sorry we've run out of time. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to Scott Plyler, President of South Atlantic Bank, coming up next. You know, that simple aspect, banks accept deposits. They make loans. They derive some profit in the little amount in between, but they do a lot more than that. They're making a difference every day. They're hiring folks. You heard Scott talk about all the folks that have been joining the bank. They then go out and move currency through the community. They enable the community to run. They're critical to the economy, whether it's South Atlantic Bank or some of the other amazing community banks in the area, regional banks in the area, national banks. Banks are constantly making a difference in the community. We almost couldn't operate without banks in the area. We probably couldn't operate without banks. They're making a difference every day, whether they're involved. We didn't even get to talk to Scott about the amazing organizations that he and his wife and his family are involved in, obviously making a difference, all the folks there at South Atlantic Bank every day. Scott, thanks so much for being with us this morning. Sorry we ran out of time.